Island in the Salish Sea. Written by Sheryl McFarlan. Illustrated by Redhead. The ferry terminal is as busy as a beehive. Dad says we are lucky to make the last sailing. Every summer I stay with Gran at her island cabin on the Salish Sea. Gran has warm huckleberry muffins waiting. They are so good I wolfed down 3. Some of my friends have never even heard of huckleberries. They taste a million times better than the strawberries in plastic boxes that our store sells. I slip out back into the woods by the creek. My favorite big leaf maple has survived the winter storms. I climb the tree and nestle into a mossy crook between 2 branches. Bats swoop and dive, catching insects on the wing. I watch them until it's too dark to see. The crick, crick, crick of tree frogs sings me to sleep. In the morning, we wave goodbye to Mom and Dad and follow the trail to the beach. I wish they could stay, but I know they have to work. 2 harbor seals sun themselves on the raft anchored in the tiny bay. They slip into the water and disappear when we dive in. Every day is a beach day, and every day is different. Sometimes I build forts out of driftwood tangles or explore the sandstone caves. Sometimes I search for sea cucumbers and decorator crabs in the tide pools, or we eat clams and roast marshmallows around a beach fire. But every day we swim, even if it rains. One day Gran makes nettle tea to take to her neighbor. Stinging nettle, I say? I think I'll stick to hot chocolate. Gran laughs and tells me that nettle just needs to be gathered carefully. While they drink tea, I go out to the shed to watch Joe carve. An eagle appears like magic out of a hunk of red cedar. While Joe works, he tells me that the eagle signifies strength, peace, and leadership. Too soon, Gran comes out to tell me that it's time to go. The summer flies by. It isn't long before the blackberries ripen. We weed Gran's garden in the morning before it gets too hot. We eat peas and green beans, early potatoes, and sweet early corn. We coast down the big hill into town for ice cream cones and push our bikes up to get back home. We jig for cod on the government dock and take Gran's little skiff out to fish for salmon. I drop by to visit Joe. Gran says not to bother him, but I like to watch him carve and listen to his stories. One day when we were clamming, Gran shows me a midden. It's a way to touch the past. I find a piece of bone with sharp edges in the heap of white shells. Gran looks at it closely. It's probably a piece of a harpoon blade. They hunted seals and whales in these waters. She tells me to put it back when I'm finished looking. I slip it into my pocket. Gran isn't happy with me when she empties my pockets for the wash. She makes me return the bone. Middens are like museums without walls, she says. Their treasures are for us all. Gran announces that we are going to one of the other islands. We pack a lunch and take a smaller ferry. The islands are close. The crossing is short. We stop at a park not far from the dock. Gran gets out a roll of paper and some charcoal. Nestled between large cedars is a huge boulder with a seal's face cut into the stone. It's probably thousands of years old, Gran says. She shows me how to take a rubbing of the petroglyph. This is something that you can keep, she tells me. Mom and Dad will be here in a few days. I'm not ready to leave the island. Gran and I pick blackberries until our hands are purple and our arms are scratched. We make a dozen jars of jam and a blackberry pie. I'm glad to see my parents, to be going home. I've missed my friends. I'm glad I got to see a bald eagle swoop down and snag a salmon in its talons on the fly. I wish I had found an eagle feather, but Joe says they are sacred and you have to earn them. I'm sad to be leaving Gran, to be leaving the island. I'm sad that I haven't seen the orcas all summer long. In the middle of the trip home, the ferry slows to a crawl. I see them, a pod of orcas just ahead. I rush out in time to see 1, 2, 3 whales surface and disappear. 2 more whales, and then another 3. People crowd in to get a look. The whales are breaching, tails slapping, and even spy hopping. I watch them until they disappear. The orcas will be back, so will I, to see Gran and our island in the Salish Sea.